I'm always going to save the best division in the NFL for last. Hello, Commanders. Automatic Gamer here, and welcome to the 2026-2027 breakdown and predictions for the NFC North for the NFL season. Man, this division is probably the most fun and most competitive in the entire NFL. Now, let's start things off with this division, and let's start off with the Chicago Bears. Now, for the Chicago Bears, obviously, they were a massive threat and contender in the division. Obviously, I mean, shockingly, they won the division. They won the entire NFC North last year at 11-6 record, and well, some people do say it's a bit of an overachievement, and yes, I do say it's also a bit shocking that yes, they did win the division with new head coach Ben Johnson and also Caleb Williams going into his second year. But also Caleb Williams does having great weapons on the offense side of the ball, good defense. Their turnover rate was one of the most top like in the NFL, or one of the best in the NFL. And also, I mean, they had a huge knack for comebacks, I would say. Kind of like us when we played the Indianapolis Colts a couple years ago for the NFC North 33-0, and then we came all the way back and we kicked their ass. But I mean, the Bears, yeah, for comebacks, they had it was like 3 or 4 games they were down and they came roaring all the way back in like the third, fourth quarter, like second half of the game, and then they would win shockingly, like off either Caleb Williams or like turnover plays, because that was like the main point for them winning. But also Caleb Williams, he did make some huge advances into his second year, and obviously looks like he could be their quarterback of the future for the Bears, like if it still turns out that way. But I mean, the Bears, even if it was an overachievement or not for last season, since they did win the division, they're going to have toughest first place schedule, and obviously it's going to be really hard to probably get back to that winning the division spot in the NFL, especially within a competitive division like this. But the Bears, I mean, even though they did lose some pieces like DJ Moore, I think they lost, they did add some pieces on the offense and defensive side to help shore up their offense and defense, just to make sure they're not missing any pieces, because they did draft. They took a safety in the first round. They, of course, took Dylan Thieneman, who the writing was on the wall for any Vikings fans for us that we were going to draft. But don't worry, I'll talk about who we, the Vikings, drafted in a minute here. But yeah, the Bears drafted Dylan Thieneman in the first round, then a safety, Logan Jones, then tight end Sam Roche, and then wide receiver Xavier Thomas, cornerback Mike Mehem, and linebacker Keshawn Elite, and then defensive tackle Jordan Van. So I mean, adding to both the offense and defense, getting in center, getting another weapon for Caleb Williams, giving him a tight end, wide receiver, adding to the cornerback room, adding to the secondary. I mean, that's really good for Bears fans. And I mean, they're, I think, definitely going to be a huge threat still in this division, even if they don't win the division this year like they did last season. They will still be a huge threat heading into this year and this season. So I mean, yeah, that's Chicago Bears. And then next, let's move on to the Detroit Lions. Now, the Detroit Lions, definitely, I feel like it was a bit of a shaky and disappointing year for Lions fans. And the reason I say it was a disappointing year for Lions fans was Not only maybe because Jared Goff did struggle last season, and there's a little bit of tension going on between him and head coach Dan Campbell, who is definitely the most ballsy, risk it all coach in the NFL because he loves to go for it on fourth down, which I don't know, it just makes him feel like he's always out of his mind every time he's calling plays. And I mean, I know they both blame each other for what happened last year, so there's definitely a bit of tension and beef between the two of them, which is not going to help them start off this year. But also, on top of still not having issues without having their original offensive and defensive coordinators, still definitely struggling there. The offense struggled a lot, especially with fumbles and turnovers, especially in that Week 17 game last year on Christmas Day when it was us, Vikings, versus the Lions. And yeah, I mean, Jared Goff, nonstop turnovers, fumbles. He threw interceptions like crazy. He was just out of his mind playing really bad football. And yeah, do I still think he's going to struggle, like still having missing pieces? And yeah, definitely. He will, especially not having especially not having his star running back. Obviously, not having Jahmyr Gibbs is definitely going to be a huge gap in the Lions' offense. Not having Jahmyr Gibbs, because the only one you have to rely on is David Montgomery, and I mean, missing one of your running backs, I mean, still a huge blow. David Montgomery, I mean, really good running back, but yeah, you're missing a huge piece on the offense, but also offense and both defense were a little bit shaky last year because they didn't perform out to where they should have been from a couple years ago when they went all the way to the NFC Championship game and could have went to the Super Bowl that year. But yeah, offense is definitely shaky, especially since they're losing a couple pieces there, and definitely defense is the same way. And I mean, they did draft decently. Who knows what they're going to do with all this? Because they drafted a offensive tackle in the first round, a edge rusher, linebacker, cornerback, wide receiver, defensive tackle, and another defensive tackle. Because they drafted an offensive tackle, Blake Miller, to give Jared Goff some protection, edge rusher, Derek Moore to give the edge position maybe something more to work with potentially. And then they drafted a linebacker, Jimmy Roller, to add to the linebacker position, which is never a bad thing to ever do. Added a cornerback, Kenneth Anbany, the second, to add to the secondary, which isn't the greatest in the NFL for the Detroit Lions. So glad that they added that. And then added Kendrick Law, wide receiver, to give Jared Goff another weapon on the offense. And then added 2 defensive tackles, Skylar Gill and Tyree West. So, I mean, that's decent. I mean, adding to the defense, adding a little bit, not much to the offense, but still adding some, since both positions are definitely in, I think, need, since they both did lose pieces. And yeah, I think there's definitely going to be a couple years that are going to have pains and issues for the Detroit Lions. I wouldn't be surprised. And I mean, if Jared Goff and Dan Campbell can settle out their issues and they can work through what the problems between them two have had throughout this past year, they're definitely still going to be a good team and contending in this division for who's going to win. But I mean, yeah, I can see them still struggling into this season, even though they did end up last in the division. They will still be struggling. Next, let's go on to the Green Bay Packers. Now, for the Green Bay Packers, I mean, there's a lot going on in Green Bay right now. And why do I say that? Well, Josh Jacobs, and I'll get to that drama in a minute here. Why do we have to go through this? Yeah, the Green Bay Packers. I mean, it was a good year. Then they came crashing down hard, and not in a good way. They were beaten up very, very badly, especially against Denver Broncos. They had 4 or 5 injuries alone in that game, and not a single person has even come back from injury. So that's not going to help them at all. But also, they lost a lot of pieces on their team, on their offense, on their defense. But also, the main thing is Josh Jacobs is, I think, no longer on their team. And that's maybe kind of a good thing because no one wants drama in the NFL because he was facing an arrest and charges for something that happened to him. So he's no longer going to be on their team, which is probably good because no one wants drama in the NFL. But yeah, I mean, their roster, it's definitely beaten up. And I know a lot of people are getting back from injury, which is a good thing, besides Micah Parsons, because he is still healing up from his injury that he took last year against the Broncos. But I mean, he won't be back until like midway through the season or till like week 15. And he's like their main part of their defense because without him, they don't really have a defense at all. And their team is full of they have a young team, so a lot of it is inexperienced. So I mean, that's definitely a huge weakness on their part on the offense and defense. But also, I mean, before I get to the other pieces that they lost, let's talk about their draft. Now, the Packers did draft cornerback Brandon Siss in the first round, defensive tackle Chris McLaren in the second, a edge rusher Danny Dennis in the fourth round, and safety Jag Burton, and then another cornerback Dominic Jackson, and then a kicker Trey Smack. So I mean, drafting a kicker, why? But also adding pieces to the defense, especially in the weakened secondary, good move adding to the defense, which definitely needs some help there, especially with the piece that they lost there on the defense. And well, it's still going to be shaky, like I said. Without Micah Parsons, they're not really going to have much of a defense, or they're still going to have some, but it's not going to be as strong as it should be. But yeah, the Green Bay Packers, obviously, they lost out on Malik Willis. They lost their defensive coordinator. They lost, I think their GM, because their defensive coordinator, their GM, and Malik Willis all went to the Miami Dolphins. So, I mean, that's not good, losing out on all those pieces, because now there's going to be growing pains and stuff to adjust to, because now they got to figure out who's going to be the backup if Love goes down, and still not being the greatest quarterback in the NFL at all. He's definitely going to struggle, because on plays he can look good, decent, but on other plays you're like, what are you doing? But yeah, I could see, because they lost all of this, same with the Detroit Lions, I could see them struggling this year and being still threatening in this division, but definitely it's going to be a little bit of a bumpy ride heading from week 1 to week 18, in my opinion. And finally, the Minnesota Vikings. Now, us, the Vikings, we are in an interesting spot. And, well, why do I say that? Well, I don't really want to say it because everyone knows it at this point, but it's the quarterback position. I mean, obviously, we pretty much all thought and all knew that Kyler Murray was going to get the starting job for the Vikings for Week 1 against the Green Bay Packers. And yeah, that did happen. But yeah, who's going to be the backup? Obviously, we know that it's most likely going to be J.J. McCarthy, and then Carson Wentz will be the third string, and then Max Brosmer is on the practice squad. So that's our quarterback situation right now. But I mean, still got the best wide receiver in the NFL, Justin Jefferson. Obviously, still got Jordan Addison. We got Ty Felton. We added Juwan Jennings to the wide receiver room, which is a really good move. But also, we did lose out on speedy Jalen Naylor, which he went to the Las Vegas Raiders. So I mean, that sucks, and I really feel bad for Speedy Naylor. Raiders, you take care of him. Yeah, just please take care of Speedy Jalen Naylor for us, Vegas Raiders. But yeah, I mean, that's a significant piece that we lost. I mean, Jonathan Goddard, yeah, we did lose him. I mean, and yeah, I know it's gonna open up a lot of windows for Dallas Turner, and he looks really good. Like, Dallas Turner is shaping up to be one of the best and primed edge rushers, along with, obviously, we know and we all love Andrew Van Ginkel. And of course, now the cornerback room is definitely shaping up to be really good in the secondary with Isaiah Rodgers, James Pierre from the Pittsburgh Steelers, and Byron Murphy Jr. as a solid cornerback room is definitely shaping up to be really good. And of course, yeah, on the offense, of course, we got Christian Darrisaw, of course, center Blake Brandel, I mean, Will Fries, Donovan Jackson, and I mean, yeah, it's a really good core offensive line, especially to protect your core offensive line to protect your quarterback, but also still the best part of the team. And what did us all of that, what happened last year's success, was not only the offense doing some good things by giving Justin Jefferson 1,000 yards, thanks to Kevin O'Connell, which is he's still really good head coach, but obviously the best part of the team is obviously the defense. Brian Flores, you are an absolute genius. We love him so much. But yeah, Brian Flores, I mean, he can do anything on the team, on the roster, because he can take something and then he can turn it into something else entirely. Like you have a play lined up, you're going to do you're going to run a blitz, and then all of a sudden you're going to do something else entirely as soon as the ball snaps, and then the quarterback has no idea what he's going to be fighting against. Yeah, especially, yeah, because the defense, it's definitely one of the best. Definitely, I would maybe say the most physical in the NFL. I mean, who knows? I mean, because in the draft, this is kind of funny. I mean, we didn't get Dylan Thieneman, which sucks. But, I mean, we did get pretty much all physical players in the NFL draft, and all of them are looking very, very good for this upcoming season. Because we drafted defensive lineman Caleb Banks, who has looked really good in practice and also healed up from his foot injury really well, so that's good. But also we took linebacker Jake Golday, defensive tackle Dominic Orange, offensive tackle Caleb Tiernan, safety Jacob Thomas, fullback Max Bredesen, cornerback Charles Demings, running back Demond Claiborne, and center Gavin Gerhardt. And all of them are extremely physical players. Like we drafted pretty much all physical players, and everyone's just gonna be like, all right, this is a impenetrable wall for our defense, and adding more to the offense to make that more explosive. So I think Brian Flores did have his hands full in the NFL draft. I think it was just him and Kevin O'Connell, and it's definitely a really good draft. And I think the new general manager, Nolan Teasley, definitely helped us out a lot, because coming over from the Seattle Seahawks, he definitely knows what he is doing, and well, yeah, he's definitely gonna help shape this team into the future. And well, yeah, hopefully, I mean, the season obviously goes better than what happened last year, but I mean, because it can only get better from where we ended off. But also, I mean, this season is definitely really exciting, and everyone's being like, all right, what are the Minnesota Vikings going to be doing? And of course, people are calling us obviously maybe the underdogs, but also pretty scary team in the NFL, because obviously best part of our team is the defense, and obviously that's the most dangerous, because no one's going to be wanting to play against a defense that's led by Brian Flores. So the Minnesota Vikings, we will hopefully have a pretty good shot to win this division. And well, this is still a super competitive division, so anything can still happen. But if I like had to predict and like think about like how like this division would go, I mean, I am not certain, because it's the NFC North. It's the most competitive division in the NFL. But if I had to arrange how I think this division would go, I would say the Minnesota Vikings in first place, Chicago Bears in second place, and then the Green Bay Packers in third place, and then the Detroit Lions in fourth, last place. So let me know if you agree or disagree with any of this in the comments below. If you're as excited as football is for me, it's only like a couple weeks away, then subscribe, join the Discord. The link will be in the description. And I will see you on the football field, Commanders.